I love Bush Baker's a legend, absolute legend.
I mean, I can't believe I just found out about him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I came online with him probably, I want to say about the time he started the company, when he started making, jigs, right? So string jigs. Because I was following along and wanting to get into string building.
Was that the first thing you did was string jigs and then went to the vices and everything else?
I don't know for sure. I want to say so. Yeah, I want to say it was jigs. And then he was constantly in Archery Talk, just like answering people's questions about jigs and string building and stuff. And then, then the vices and stuff. But he makes great stuff. And he's such a cool dude.
Like I was looking at all my Archer stuff because all my stuff's obviously in Lorenzo's office, like most of my tuning stuff. And I wish I had his stuff.
Oh,
like look at that stuff I have.
Oh, he makes crazy good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and what a cool dude. Spend time with him. I really want to, it's like I said before, I really want to get into string building just for scratch the itch, Want to have the ability to make my own.
Yeah, we sat there for 10, 15 minutes talking to him.
At least.
And the whole time I even mentioned when you were there, I was like, I could listen to you talk all day, Butch, about archery and strings. It was so phenomenal. I probably spent an hour talking to him at the Vegas shoot. And then, I think I talked to him 2 different days up there. But he was funny. He's like, I'm going to put some money in. Hopefully he won't mind me mentioning it. But he's like, I'm going to put some money into trying to win the truck, Oh, yeah. So he was out there shooting the 111 yarder. And he's like, man, I should have brought my own spotter. He's like, those guys would be like, oh, you're a little high. He's like, then I'd get up there to pull arrows. They'd be like 8, 9 inches high. And he's like, what's a little to you guys? He's like, it's hard to walk your sight in sometimes, on those shots. But such a cool guy. Such a cool dude. Yeah. And very generous with his time and knowledge. So I highly recommend giving him a follow on Instagram because I did instantly after we met him. Yeah. And then he posted that video and I was like, yeah, this is a guy. Yeah. So his page is, I'm going to pull it up real quick. It might take you a while because your text is so big on your phone. Baker Archery Products, Butch Baker. Yeah, he makes vices, jigs. Just a cool dude. Yeah, who's been at it for a while. So, out of Idaho. So anyway, give Butch Baker Archery Products a follow. Good dude. Mm-hmm. Real good dude. One of my favorite people. Seems like I only met him for 15 minutes, but seems salt of the earth. Like just the nicest guy possible. Yeah. Yeah. Like he wants to help. With a ton of knowledge. Yeah. 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 How was TAC for you? We just got back from TAC. When did we get back? 2 days ago? Yeah. I'm trying to even remember. Sunday, right? Yeah, Sunday. Today's Tuesday. Sunday pretty late. And phenomenal time at TAC. Good time? Good time. You hadn't been in a minute. It's been a minute for me. You ready to pick up the bow again? Should I break the news? Yeah, I think you should. Shot good. And I really enjoyed it again. And I might be bringing it back. Yeah. And maybe not might. I think I am bringing it back. Yeah. What is it about it? I just like the camaraderie side, having fun, shoot some arrows, like carefree. Does the equipment have anything to do with it? Just the feeling of will say stopping my Butch. Again, relit that passion and fire. the geekiness, because I love tuning. Yeah. That's why I built, that device back there used to be like my homebrew hooter shooter. Like literally I could, I had a release on there and I could touch it and like shoot it and do all my tuning stuff on it. And then it became, touch my bow, my press to it and everything else and the draw board. And I do miss that. That's fun. All the tinkering. Me too. Yeah. And maybe I think I'm burning some elk points. Yeah, we've talked about going on an elk hunt next year. It would be absolute riot. It really would be fun. Yeah, that would be fun. I've never shot an elk with my bow. Really? Yeah. Yeah, and I've told you elk are built for bow hunting. They are. They're like the quintessential bow hunting animal. Maybe javelina, but but elk are so much fun to hunt. I think it'd be fun because I was like trying to calculate it out. Like I think the last animal I killed with a bow is like 11-ish years ago, maybe 12 years ago. And I killed some like turkeys and javelina in the meantime, but like a true, big game animal. And I was psycho into it way back in the day. And maybe time. Yeah. You gonna get a new bow? Thinking about getting a new bow, yeah. Everyone keeps asking, you still shooting the Atlas? Like, yeah, I'm still shooting the Matthews Atlas. Yeah. But like grabbing that bow and then picking up your lift, I'm like, technology's changed. Yeah. Man, what's rapidly increasing for sure. Yeah. Well, how old's the Atlas now?
Probably 4 years, maybe, I want to say. And don't quote me on that. I can't remember exactly, but yeah, they've got the Lift XD now for guys. It'll get out to like 33 and a half or 34 inches.
Yeah, I'm 32 and a quarter.
For real long draw guys like you. And it's the same platform essentially as the Lift. So you can get it in a 33 inch with the long draw. That's what Paul's shooting.
Yeah.
Have you shot Paul's bow?
No, I've never shot Paul's bow. I should probably ask if he'd let me do that.
Is it wrong to shoot another man's bow?
As long as the person you're letting shoot is at least slightly qualified. Not like a new person. I've never let like a new person shoot my bow.
Yeah.
I'd let you shoot my bow. I mean,
and I'd let you shoot mine.
I don't know if I'd let Porter shoot my bow. He's not in here right now, so I can say that.
Yeah. There's a level there.
Yeah. I mean, Porter's been shooting his bows. I'll give him that. Like, he's definitely dedicated to shooting because he has a elk tag this year. But it's just, have to pick and choose.
I always get a little nervous when anybody even
picks it up. Are you going to accidentally drop it? Are you going to set it down and like slam the cam down? Or
I always get nervous because it feels like the first inclination is to like pull it back.
Do you see all those guys pulling bows back? We were at TAC, just like with the bare hands.
Yeah, we were by the Bowtech booth, and I saw a number of guys over there in the Bowtech booth that were just checking out bows that just grabbed a bow off the rack and wrenched it back all the way with their fingers.
Why is that?
I don't know.
What feel are you trying to get from that? It's totally different.
Yeah, it is completely different, but it is the natural inclination is when you hold a bow in your hand is to just grab it and give it a wrench back, you know. Yeah. But I can't even watch anymore. So, somebody draws a bow without an arrow on it, like I got to turn my head. It makes me. It's like it's that queasy feeling in my stomach of like, oh, please no, please don't do that.
Mm-hmm. And did you see all the bows walking around at TAC? They were blown apart.
Saw a few.
Yeah, like no joke, probably at least handful, at least 5 I saw.
Yeah, I can think of 2 for sure. I heard one of them was just didn't knock an arrow. Mm-hmm. I don't know what the other one was, but yeah, TAC was it was good. We shot Sunday, which was fun. We shot with the guys from SIG, Troy and Anthony, which was super fun. Then Jess, all shot some arrows. I shot some good ones, shot some bad ones.
Yeah, I definitely lost a few.
Had some fun. Watched Anthony punch himself in the mouth.
Oh yeah,
trying to draw with my release.
That was kind of fun. I've actually never done that before. What we call it? Release roulette.
Release roulette. Yeah, we all swapped releases.
And you got to use my tension release, my silverback.
Yeah, I sold one. Which I felt pretty good. I was asking you whether it was hot or cold, and you said you're like, oh, it's pretty decent.
Pretty decently hot, but not the.
Yeah, I actually got it back, no problem. It's got the safety on it, got the full draw. I was thinking, yeah, this feels nice. I can start to ease up on the old safety. And I was coming in from the top, and man, as soon as I let any tension off of it, it zipped. Yeah, it just completely let go.
And I totally forgot we should have probably calculated it because like my holding weight is different than your holding weight because I have an older bow, and I think yours is a little bit higher poundage than mine. So your holding weight might be a little bit heavier. So why don't you let off mine set for a lighter holding weight, and then I have to pull into it a little bit.
Do you have 85 let off on that?
I believe so.
Oh yeah, mine's 80, and then it might just be a difference on how people pull into the wall. But man, as soon as I let off that safety, it was gone.
Zinger,
gone. Yeah, broke that arrow. Yeah, that was fun. Fun trips, fun to visit with people. It was busy.
Busy at the booth, yeah.
Yeah, I felt like my jaw hurt from talking after I come home. But overall, good event, fun. Yep. It's usually after TAC, I feel like it's time to like really get serious and hone in. And I don't even have any tags in my home state this year, but I've got an antelope tag that starts. I was looking at the calendar. It starts August 1st, which is not that far out.
No, and before we do get going too, I want to give a shout out to Tall Paul.
Tall Paul. Yeah, Tall Paul.
He is a beast running that booth at TAC. Mm-hmm. Like very personable. People come up, he'll help them out with whatever clothing, whatever questions they have. Ran the booth really well. Well-oiled machine.
Yeah, he squared away all of our living accommodations while we were up there. Had food, did all the grocery shopping.
Yep.
Yeah, we just showed up and basically, worked the booth and talked to folks for 3 days. And Tall Paul was just flat grinding. Yeah, he did awesome. Paul's a good dude. Inevitably, when I talk to anybody that's from Vegas, local, or they've passed through Vegas from like Southern California or somewhere, and they've stopped in the shop, everybody knows Paul. And everybody has good things to say about Paul. So, Yeah, I would say definitely if you're in the Vegas area, stop in and visit with Paul, and he'll make your day. Whether you buy anything or not, you'll feel better leaving. Yep. He's such a good dude.
Genuine guy.
Yeah. Today, since this kind of hurts my heart. I was prepping for this podcast. I was thinking, what's on people's minds. I answered a lot of questions about archery mule deer hunting. Mm-hmm. Kind of hurt my heart, and that I don't even have a deer tag this year. Not one at all, which is kind of sad. I didn't anticipate that, but I felt a little bit sad, especially this morning. I took the dog for a run before I left. Mm-hmm. I got some alfalfa fields just north of my house, and took the dog down the lower dirt lane. Cruising along, come back, making my way back, look over, and there's like 8 bucks standing right there in the alfalfa.
That low country, huh?
Yeah, field bucks, Bucks. But got to watch them, and one's pretty nice 4-point, probably like a 160 type of buck, But
do you think that buck knows what's coming?
I don't know, and I don't know if he knows. I don't know if he has anything coming based on where he's at. He may be
he's pretty protected.
He may be good to go. Yeah, it'll just depend on maybe who's got some access to that property. But it made me like a little bit sad that I don't have a deer tag this year. But I thought it'd be fun to talk spot and stalk, and maybe some ambush, maybe even some water techniques in regards to mule deer, since those hunts are approaching. You've got hunts that kick off. I think they're already killing deer in California.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, blacktail. I saw a lot of blacktail harvest photos over
saw
last
some
week.
of those. I think Nevada is usually one of the earliest states to kick off, which I think is August 10th.
August 10th.
And then you've got Utah kind of on the tail end of that. It comes up like the 16th, I want to say, of August. But you're hunting them in August, and then you roll into some of maybe the more well-known states with, I think it's a September 2nd archery opener for deer in Colorado, which is probably the big one. Been chit-chatting with some buddies over there who are finding some real nice bucks.
Oh, yeah.
And it should be a really, really good year. But I thought it'd be fun to kind of relive some archery mule deer hunts that you and I have had, talk some tips and tricks, and just basically on how you tackle archery mule deer. I am by no means the most proficient archery mule deer hunter. I've got some success under my belt. My best buck is an archery buck that I killed a couple of years ago, but I've blown infinitely more stalks than worked out. So I've made just about every mistake that you could make. So if I can pass on something that'll help somebody else, I thought we should try to do that today. So we'll dive into that. I guess I need to hit promo before we get rolling, and then shout out to Sig Optics. I was sitting with Anthony and Troy after we shot that Sunday, and just kind of talking products and talking like past jobs, and just talking about those, just getting to know those guys a little bit better. And I was just telling him, I love their product, obviously. So the binos are awesome. The new spotter's awesome. Their rangefinders are great. But I was like, dude, it's just fun to like work with a company that you feel like, man, I would hang out with you regardless. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no joke.
Like good dudes, man. And those guys shot great. You know what I mean? Like those guys are bow hunters. They shoot broadhead leagues. He was, talking to me about, but it was really fun to catch up with those guys. So yeah, I mean, shout out to those guys to being, sponsoring the podcast. So, check out those binos if you guys are in the market. And then we have some approaching deals that'll be coming up. So starting August 1st, we're going to bring back our Refer a Friend program here for signing up new insiders here under our platform. So if you refer one friend, you're going to get 75 points back in the gear shop. That's $75 that you can use towards the purchase of anything that you want in the shop. For friends 2 and 3, you'll get an additional 75 points. And then if you refer 4 friends to sign up for a new GOHUNT Insider account, you're going to get 1,000 points total.
My gosh.
So we'll be giving you, if you refer 4 friends that sign up for a new Insider account, you're going to get $1,000 in the GOHUNT gear shop.
$1,000 total, huh?
Yeah, which is pretty wild.
That's pretty wild.
It's a chunk of change, huh?
That's a good chunk of change. And then you can turn around and buy yourself a pair of Sig binos.
Totally. Yep. Yeah, and I should say, if you sign up a friend, so you're going to get 75 points. I think the friends can also get 75 points. Okay. So
that's pretty cool.
Pretty good deal for
sure.
Way
to give back, find your friends who, need a good mapping solution. New insider research to find some more tags for coming up in 2026, even all the leftover opportunities.
Yeah. Wow. How many people did you talk to up there that you would you'd say, did you draw any tags this year? I talked to a decent amount that were like, yeah, I didn't draw anything this year. I just am out shooting, I'm looking for an opportunity. And then we would start talking, I'm like, oh, well, do you apply here? Do you build points there? Where are you from? And man, you start diving in and, I was like giving these guys ideas, like you thought about this, you thought about that. Maybe you looked at this turnback list, or, you're looking at OTC elk, maybe in a state like, Utah, archery, those permits for spikes or any bull units, those are unlimited. So like we were just talking shop, and man, there's a lot of opportunity still.
Yeah. I had a few DMs over the last week too, that were saying that basically that same thing.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I don't know if you're gonna if you'll see this, but if you do, can you give me some ideas? And so I've been trying to go through and be like, hey, well, there's a lot of opportunities coming up to pick up tags.
Yeah, there still are. Still quite a few. I think I'm going to buy an over-the-counter elk tag in Utah and probably run out with my brother, at least that opening weekend. So I think we're just going to go try to shoot a couple big fat lead cows and haul them off the mountain.
There you go.
Just have an old-fashioned elk hunt. So that should be fun. The other thing I wanted to note is starting August 5th, we'll be doing some killer deals in the GOHUNT gear shop just to celebrate GOHUNT's birthday. So starting the 5th, and I don't know the end date for that, but we're going to be doing some daily deals in the shop to kind of celebrate our birthday. And I was trying to think, do you know what year is this? I was trying to remember. Is this 13 years?
It could be 13, I think.
That's what I was thinking.
I think I've been here for 13 total.
It's either 12 or 13. Yeah. I should know that off the top of my head, but I doubt. What year did you come here? Do you remember?
I think it was late January of 2014.
2014.
So that was before GOHUNT was existing on the old internet. And
yeah, I have it in my mind that it was 2013.
Yeah.
Gosh, we might be 12 years, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, they were already doing stuff then in 2013.
Yeah.
It was just, Lorenzo Porter and kind of working through some things. And
so you got here in 2014?
2014, yeah.
So you've been here 11 years?
Yeah.
I think
technically I'll play it out. I think it's technically 12 right now. But
be 12?
Yeah.
That math's hard for me.
I know. And it's like when they start and then it rolls around, it's like, I think I'm 12 or 13 years. But
yeah, I think this is 9 for me. I want to say coming up on 9 in April, which time flies, huh? Yeah, that's what's crazy. You go to an event like TAC and you talk to people and you're like, man, I've been talking to you. Like, people stop in and say hi. And it's like, yeah, this is like the 5th, 6th year, 7th year. And I'm like, man, time just floats. Everybody shows up with a little more gray in their beard. And
we were also talking about that. Your grayness, my gray.
I am getting gray. I was telling you, I don't know what, like the last 6 months, I feel like I've just completely grayed. My beard is really going. And then I was having a discussion. What do you think? Do I lighten it up? Do I give like a little, not lighten it up, darken it up maybe?
No. Keep that self going.
I don't think so.
Keep that self going. I got a lot of it going too, especially my lower chin.
I'm going to let it ride. Yeah.
We also have August 1st, we're having a film night.
Yeah. Great plug.
Here you go.
I completely forgot. Actually, I know a little bit about this, but go ahead with what you got.
Yeah. So I can't remember what it cost to come and watch the films, but we're doing buy a ticket, get food, get some drinks, hang out. We have 2 films launching, not released on YouTube yet at all. I'm not sure the dates they're going to go to YouTube, but we did get a question, will they eventually go to YouTube, these 2 films? And yes, they will eventually go to YouTube for everyone to watch. But this is a pre-screening of these 2 unreleased films. We have Lorenzo and Omar, Archery elk hunting.
Yep.
And then the second film is going to be my brother's elk hunt from last year that we did with my dad. So they're 2 great films, 2 totally different environments.
Yep.
And
elk hunt.
Elk hunt's going to be a great time. And
to be food, drinks.
Yep.
And then today I found out we kind of shorted up that we're going to do some raffles.
Oh, we are going to do some raffles. Okay.
Yes. We have a great pile of gear for raffles, and then all the proceeds from all that we're going to donate back to the Pronghorn Foundation. So
nice.
Yes, we had Brock on the podcast to talk about Pronghorn Foundation and those guys getting up and running. We thought it'd be a cool opportunity to donate back to that group. So
that's cool. That's really cool.
We'll donate all the proceeds to that. I don't think I will be here. I actually think I will be in a pronghorn blind.
Yeah. August 1st, that is antelope opener.
August 1st is my opener. So I unfortunately won't be here. I don't think. I won't say for sure, but I think I'm going to be in an antelope. I think I'll be antelope hunting.
Yeah, I'm just going to throw another shout out there because I'm just giving shout outs like crazy. Like, you did a good podcast the other day about antelope tactics that people should check out.
Did you listen to it?
I did listen to it, Trail.
Really?
I listened to you do your little solo rant about all sorts of tactics, blind setups, water holes.
That's hilarious.
Scouting. So yeah, check out the Game Trail podcast.
Anything good in it? Did you learn anything? Or was this stuff you had dialed?
No, I always learn. It's always good to hear it again. You know, like you remember it, and then it's like, oh yeah, that clicks again. Like, maybe I was doing something right, doing something wrong.
Part of that is just reminding myself, you know, like, oh yeah, I got to remember this, remember that.
You remember to set up a blind properly so it doesn't smack you in the little family jewel. Do you remember that? That fateful day.
Do you want me to tell that story? Is that what you're driving at?
I kind of do. Blind safety 101.
Okay.
Just make it quick if you can, because it's a funny story.
So one time I was on an antelope hunt and I had a camera guy, and I had seen a buck come off a water hole late in the evening. And it was a buck that I wanted to shoot. He had some does with him. So I thought, you know what? I'll give him a little time. I'll come back in later tonight and I will put up a pop-up blind on this water hole. So I get the blind out and I'm putting it up. And if you've ever put up a blind, you know that you've got carbon rods, right, that go out to the corners, and you have a hub in the middle of those, and they pop out, right? And then
with a lot of tension.
They pop out and then they fold in. So one of the hubs is actually somehow, when it got put away, is twisted. So it's like twisted around. So I climb inside the blind. I've got 3 of the hubs popped out, and I've got this one in the middle that's like turned inside out. So I decide I'm going to just grab it like yay, like this. Yeah. And I'm going to twist that thing. Right? Okay. Yeah. To get it to pop back around. So I grab it and I'm like really torquing on it, twisting it. And if you can imagine this, I've got my legs spread, I've got the hub in my hand, and I'm like really giving that thing a twist. And one of the carbon rods that goes down into a sleeve in the bottom corner pops out of the sleeve and catches me right square in the cherries. I mean, as hard as... do you know what those carbon rods are like? Like the amount of tension those things are underneath. It's like if you folded that thing all the way back and just smacked yourself right in the nards. That's what happened. So I stood up and my camera guy was inside the blind with me. And I'm kind of laughing because it's embarrassing, obviously, that I just got hit in the nuts that hard. Yep. I'm kind of laughing, and then I'm getting the most intense pain I've ever felt in my life. It's like starting to pulsate up through my stomach, like through my fingertips. My fingertips are going numb. My toes are going numb. And he's laughing, and I'm kind of chuckling, and I'm trying to like catch a breath. I'm like starting to have trouble kind of breathing. And if you've ever passed out, you probably know the feeling, but you start to get the wah-wahs, it's a wah like that. And I can kind of start to see the light coming in. And so I throw my arms over his neck, and he's kind of laughing. He's like, "Are you okay?" And I said, "I think I'm going to pass out." And that's the last thing I remember. So I completely passed out. Yep. Came to consciousness, like laying on my side in the dirt, and he was like rubbing my hands. I guess it's the thing you do if somebody passes out, but he's like rubbing my hands and my wrist. Logan Summers, shout out Logan for bringing you to for nursing me. Yeah, but I got back that night and gave it a good look, and it was not a good sight.
Oh, you gave the jewels a good look?
I gave the jewels a look, yeah, and it was not good. They were definitely swollen and very purple.
Did you kill that buck?
I killed that buck the next morning.
So was it worth it?
Yeah, it was great, man. I got up early the next morning, got in well before light.
I was sitting in a chair after that.
It was a little tense. Yeah, it was a little dicey. I was definitely sitting out the edge of the seat. And that buck came in about 9:30 in the morning and ended up shooting him and kind of heart shot him. He went up over the hill and died. But yeah, it's my second best buck. But yeah, so watch that if you're setting up an antelope blind.
Yeah.
Yikes. Yeah, hopefully that doesn't happen this time.
No.
You want to talk mule deer?
Let's talk mule deer. Let's talk the best species in the world.
Yeah, they are pretty fun, man. It was fun seeing those this morning, like I said. But I thought we'd break this down into like maybe 3 different categories. Spot and stalk. We'll probably spend most of our time on spot and stalk because I think that's probably the primary means of killing a mule deer with your bow. Spot and stalk. Ambush, I threw that in because I think in part, it goes in conjunction with spot and stalk. I was actually thinking of the number of bucks that I've been in on. How many of them did I actually get in on where they were like still bedded? I think a lot of the times it seems like you're always kind of ambushing anyway, right? Whether they're coming to a bed or moving away from a bed, or even just like waiting for them to get up from their bed and then kind of move out. So I threw an ambush there. So I thought we'd talk about that. And then at the bottom here, I put water. Maybe we can just jump to water first and foremost.
Let's get that out of the way.
Get it out of the way.
Yeah.
What do you think about hunting? Is hunting mule deer on water a feasible means of like being consistently successful?
I mean, that's probably going to be a state by state, situational, whatever unit you might be hunting, the type of terrain. But I think most people, when they think of archery mule deer hunting, they're probably thinking that classic, like big mountain type hunting, spot and stalk style.
Yeah.
So for the most part, I've never considered water like, hey, I'm going to go sit water, or even in a mountain situation, I'm not really going to sit water, because a lot of times those bucks are just getting the water from the vegetation. They don't need to hit a water source every single day. But if you're hunting some dry or arid country, maybe you could go and sit water. But
have you ever shot a buck off water? I've shot coos deer.
I'm trying to think if I've ever shot a mule deer off water. No, I've never shot a mule deer off water.
Nor have I.
Even bow hunting days. Never even sat water for mule deer.
Yeah, I would say it's almost to the point where for me, I pretty well have just checked it off the list. It's like not even a means that I pursue.
Yeah.
And I've hunted some deer that were low country deer, like cedar sagebrush, where inevitably, and given that it's hot in August, I would think that hunting water, but even, putting a trail camera on water, I'm not getting consistent enough results to think that even hunting off of water would be a feasible means of being successful.
So can we compare it to sitting in a wall for elk? It's not really consistent. Elk a little bit more consistent.
Way more consistent.
Coming to a wall?
Yeah, okay. Absolutely. I would say sitting water for elk is way more feasible, a lot more likely than mule deer.
The only one I can really think of right now that might be a good tactic for that is if you have like, I don't like states, but Arizona OTC.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe.
Like some of those really dry arid environments where it is just, potentially might be feasible in some of those places.
Even in some of those spots, like I said, if on a low country deer, it seems like running trail cameras, in a lot of cases, I'm only getting photos of a deer like every 3 days or something. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes just like not at all. Mm-hmm. It's just like they completely ghost it.
And then I'm remembering too, like when we hunted together, on an OTC hunt, never had a mule deer come in water.
No, coos deer.
Like we have glass mule deer, but we never actually had, like in vicinities of water sources, and we never had them hit when we were sitting on them. We would sit all day on some of those water sources. So
I know people that have killed bucks in Nevada off of water. I just think it has to be like the extremely driest like types of environments to find some success off of water. So for me, I mean, that's probably the end of the discussion, I think. Yeah. I just don't think it's like a real feasible means. Even in the high country, I would say almost not at all.
Not at all, yeah.
Yeah, they just seems like there's enough moisture in the vegetation, or there's enough running water that they're probably just sitting somewhere. Yeah. Yep. A lot of low country seems like they're hitting it at night, at dark, so it's not a feasible means of even hunting them there.
Yeah.
So I would just kind of cross, and I get to ask that question a decent amount, is like, oh, can I kill one off water? And I would say it's highly unlikely. Yeah. So maybe that's it for water.
That's it for water. Yeah, we can cross that off and move on.
Yeah. So let's dive into spot and stalk. Kind of in the way I'm going to approach this. I want to hit some tips and tricks and that kind of thing. But I guess first, one of the questions that I had, and a lot of this stems from people that have had questions of me. But how do you approach a mule deer hunt when you've had time to scout versus you don't? So you've never had boots on the ground. I know a number of friends this year that have tags in areas that they've never been to. So they've been doing e-scouting. Do you approach that differently if you've had time to scout versus when you haven't?
Yeah, you definitely want to approach them two totally different things. I mean, they're going to be similar in a sense, but if you've had time to put boots on the ground, obviously you probably have a little leg up. You've seen the country.
Hopefully you found a buck.
Hopefully you found a buck or found at least some better glassing spots than what you experienced. I mean, if you've never approached it before, I mean, I know send me some questions ahead of time. Might be one of your questions, like start high or start low, or where to start. Like if you've never been to the Indian before, never put boots on the ground, but you've done your e-scouting, you've done your homework. If you're talking about an early, high country velvet type mule deer hunt, I'm probably going to try to find some glassing points where I can see a lot of elevation. Doesn't mean you have to go to the tops, You could be glassing it from a highway. You could spend some time glassing it from a gravel road, whatever access point you can kind of find to maybe glass up into some of these basins to maybe, take a day before the hunt and kind of run around and glass up into high country basins could be a very useful strategy rather than, hey, I'm going to load up with 6 days worth of gear and go all the way into a basin that might not have anything there, So you might want to just cover country for a little bit and glass up in these spots. Because the nice thing is about deer in the summer, they have their summer coats on. They like being out in the open because they have the velvet still. And so they're kind of very easy to see in the early morning because that sun just like, boom, shines off them. And, they come out in the evening as well. So like that could definitely be a good strategy to cover country and glass up into spots with some big optics if you have big optics. Right. Or you could still use your normal, like, you could use some 10s, you could use 12s, 15s or whatever. And maybe you're not looking, maybe you can't see antler size at, 2+ miles out. But you can tell maybe body size, or you can see a little bit of rack. You might not be able to bachelor herds. You might not be like, hey, this is a 170 buck compared to 150 buck. You might not be able to tell that distance, but at least you can tell you got some bucks to deal with.
Yeah.
And if you're just looking to go for bucks, well, that's all you really need to see is a bachelor herd of bucks up on the mountain, and then you can kind of maybe make a plan to backpack in there.
Yeah. The thought that I had was, I think ideally, if you've had a chance to scout and you've hunted, you're probably looking for areas that are going to have bucks in it, but then in a lot of cases, you may be checking out some of those areas that have the potential to produce a big buck, right? So like some little hidey hole, it's like tucked in. And if that's the case, you're probably going to focus and hunt one specific buck. Like ideally, you found a buck that you really want to kill, or maybe, 2 or 3 that are like your C and D plan, right? I think for me, a tip that I'll pass on to people is like, if you've never been to the area before, you've had no boots on the ground, you don't have a time to like get out there, I would say spend your time doing your e-scouting and hunt country where you're more likely to kill. So like more stockable terrain, because you could spend, let's say you've got a week, you could spend your time like going out and checking these little avalanche chutes that are like tucked in, these little pockets that might hold a big buck, and it's got a bunch of timber and stuff, but it might not be the most conducive to actually being able to kill that buck. And I guess it depends a little bit on what your objective is. Like if your objective is to kill the biggest buck you can, then yeah, great, go for it. But I would say if you've never been in the unit, never had boots on the ground, I would spend a lot of your time e-scouting, looking for areas that are more conducive to spot and stalk hunting.
What would you say that area kind of looks like typically if you look at a mountain face?
Yeah, I mean, I would say not like feeding areas, right? So mosaic-y, right? If you can, I would say limited cover, so not a ton of cover. If you get like big, giant timbered slopes, that those deer are just going to feed into and disappear during the day, it's probably not an area that's going to be easy to spot and stalk because you just lose them, right? So I'd be looking for more open country where you've got little, if you're in the high country, right? So those little ground juniper clumps,
little stunted trees.
Little stunted trees, small pockets of timber, ledgy country, bluffy country.
Some willows.
Just not something that's got a ton of cover, because if you lose those animals into the cover, they're gone. And you're just not going to be able to put them to bed and actually put a stalk. So I would look for things like, bluffy country, cliffy country, more open country, single groups or, 2 or 3 trees, one big single tree, little clumps of shade, areas that are ledgy that are going to hold some deer up underneath it where they can bed. So just like more open country, if you will.
Those areas are like you're describing right now. I'm picturing in my head, like I could stalk all those areas.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, ledges, rock cliffs, or you can bucks bedded down below it. Like areas that you potentially could get a stalk on and kill. Because the worst thing is going up there and glassing a bunch of country. And you're like, you can never kill that buck. Yep. Like I've been to places before where I literally watched a buck for 3 days in a row. And I was like, one of these days he has to move to a spot where I could try to stalk him. But it literally had a giant face, like rock wall above him. And there was no way to get up on top of it. Like you'd be well above that buck. Like you could not get a shot off. And if you tried to approach from below, he's going to see you. The wind will probably get it during the day when the thermals are going up. And the buck was just really safe. And so I was waiting to try to kill a buck for 3 days, trying to hopefully he was bedding in a different spot, but he never did. And then the buck busted out of there for some reason. I don't know what happened, but he left the area completely. And I was like, that was a waste. I was trying to hunt a buck that wasn't killable.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, some might be worth it, right? Like if he's a true giant,
he wasn't a true giant either, but just a buck,
gotcha.
A good buck.
Yeah, you can just sit and look at deer for days and days and not ever put himself in an opportunity to actually get a stalk. I'm guilty of this. Like I've hunted deer in areas that are pretty heavily timbered, a lot of aspen regeneration, and they'll just flat disappear completely. Some days you can't even find them, right? And then some days you do find them, but they just feed over into big old grove of trees, and it's like, well, there he is. He's gone for the day.
Yeah.
Nothing I can do about it, right? So I think if you got very limited knowledge, I think it's important to actually spend your time scouting, e-scouting, where you have got country that you could actually stalk. Yeah, spot and stalk. You brought up glassing. I think glassing is the primary method.
Yeah.
Do you have any tips and tricks in regards to glassing for mule deer?
Just find a spot where you can see a lot of different terrain types, and hopefully you got some backup spots, but I never try to think of like, okay, I need like the perfect glassing spot. I need, 300 degrees of visibility from one spot. There's not going to be a perfect glassing spot ever. And I always like spots where I can glass a little bit in one spot. I might be glassing some thicker areas, but I can still see a lot of country, and then maybe moving, quarter mile away or dropping elevation. A lot of people don't like to drop elevation once you gain it. But a lot of times you might drop elevation and the terrain could totally change. It could open up a little bit where you could see things from a different angle. So I like to move around a lot in glassing because, in the morning you're power glassing. That's what I try to just pick up a buck somewhere. And then once I know they might be starting to bed, well, then it's like, okay, now I'm going to, either pick up a spotting scope, and I really like to dive into like glassing into timbered areas, try to find a little ear twitch or an antler of some buck I might have missed earlier. But sometimes just moving a little bit can just open up the terrain and allow you to see in some little pockets that you couldn't see from like your main glassing point. So I just think people need to be mobile. People need to be glassing comfortably, because if you glass comfortably, you're going to glass a little bit more efficiently. You need to be focused on it at the task at hand and really just picking apart everything you think could hold a buck.
What are you carrying in regards to gear, do you think, for archery mule deer hunting in regards to glass?
You could probably just get by with.
What do you like?
You could get by with a small optics, 65 mil spotter.
Is a spotter necessary? Is it a must?
I would say for most people, maybe it's not necessary unless you're trying to really glass far extreme distances, which I do like to do. Because
I would say it's a must.
It is, like, to be able to pick them apart really far away, unless you have, you're running like maybe 15s or 18s off a tripod, maybe you could get by without it. And you're just going for any buck.
I think it's a must.
Yeah.
Do you know why?
Why?
So I think it's important to obviously if this is your jam, right, being able to judge trophy judge an animal, but I think it's a must into actually being able to have the magnification to put that buck in the precise spot, to have the best view of where that buck is actually bedded. So there's a lot of times I've glassed up bucks and I'll throw the spotter up to check them. And once I check them and I'm like, yeah, that's a buck I really want to hunt. Like I'm spending all morning watching that buck in the spotting scope. Like I won't go back to my binos because I actually want to be able to see exactly the bush.
The bush, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then I want to be able to zoom out a little bit, take some photos, and get a much better picture in my mind of where that buck is in relation to the various topography, elements, like if it's a cliff or if it's a big standing dead Doug fir, whatever it might be. Like I want to know where that buck is bedded in relation to that object on the land, so that when I get there, I can reference them, right?
Yep. And I'm glad you touched on the photo side of it. Because that would, I think, be one of the biggest benefits of having spotting. Yeah, you can take a picture through binos. You can have adapters for that. But like you said, being able to take a picture and reference it exactly. You want to I like taking zoomed in photos through Digiscope of exactly where he's at. I'll zoom out a little bit further through the spotting scope, maybe adjust the magnification so I get a bigger picture view. And then when I do that, I like to go into my photo and edit that photo and like draw a little line.
Me too.
Because if he's kind of hidden and you have a zoomed out thing, you'll get over on your stock, be like, where was he again? But you can actually go in, and I'm sure you can do it on Android too, but I have an iPhone, but you can edit it and you can like draw a little line or circle on your own photo where exactly he's bedded right there. So get multiple photos, even going through and doing videos too. Like phones are great nowadays. You can actually do a lot of zooms, like zoom in, zoom out, get video, be like, all right, I'm going to, talk to yourself even when you're video, like, oh, I'm going to stalk from here, get down to there. That way you can memorize it. Hey, it's by that burnt tree or by that specific aspen that comes out that has a big branch off and it's broken off. Like, start trying to like video yourself talking.
I've never done that. I usually do open up the edit portion with a marker, and I'll mark where the buck is. And if there's distinguishing land features, I'll mark those. And then I do the same thing. I do it close up and out, like zoomed out, because everything looks different when you get around to it, right? You have to have like markers as you make your approach. It's usually from above, and we'll talk about that here in a sec. But usually, you've got to have markers, because man, everything looks different when you get up through there. So I would say a spotting scope's a must.
Middle of day glassing, I probably use my spotting scope way more than I'll ever use my binos.
And you're just looking in the shade, looking for bedding areas, looking for an ear,
diving in the timber with the spotter. And it's nice if I, bring up a BTX or something like that and have dual eyes, but like you can still do it with a normal spotting scope. You can close your eyes. You can do the whole patch thing. You can twist your hat to the side or put a beanie on to make it a little more comfortable. But like, I think a spotter is a workhorse in the mountain. Like it's literally how I find bucks, or especially if like, you go to that basin in the morning and you glass it and maybe, it's just a nursery of does and fawns and you're like, shoot, now it's, 10 o'clock in the morning and I got to move to a different spot. And they're sitting down. Yeah, you can pick it apart with your binos pretty quickly, but then it's like, well, might as well bust out the spotter now because bucks are most likely bedded by the time I got over to your second spot for the morning, and then just use your spotter.
Yeah. It might seem like overkill, but for me, I think the ultimate like spot and stalk mule deer optic setup for me is like a pair of Zulu 6s around my neck, and I like the 12s. So the 12 by 42s, a small spotting scope, so like a 65 millimeter spotter with 20 by 60 zoom, and then I really like a set of 15s on a tripod.
So you like carrying a 3 optic setup, three big glass plus a rangefinder.
Yeah, ideally that's mine because I like the 15s for just general glassing. So I'll put those things on a tripod, like you said, get really comfortable. I like that little Tracer AD tripod and the LP pan head. Because it's lightweight, so I save a little bit of weight there, but I love just to sit behind a set of 15s and I can just cruise country. It allows me to like look at stuff close in real fine detail, but I can also reach out quite a long ways and glass with both eyes and, pick up any kind of deer movement. And then, spotter for the reason I just described. And then I like the Zulu 6s around my neck, because when I'm actually making the stock, which is where I think those things absolutely shine, is when you're closing within that 200, 150 yard range and you're trying to find an antler or an ear tip, or you're trying to find an exact tree. The stability of those things is so handy to just be able to like pick up any little, sign of where you're going. So I think that's like where those really, really shine.
Yeah, I would agree.
So many times you'll be in, if it's a buck and he's in some cover and some timber. I mean, I'm thinking about elk hunting. Like last year, I had a bunch of lodgepole pine, right? It was burned out, super thick, but so many times those elk would be within 100 yards, and I'm just like looking for a hunk of hide, through the gaps in the trees. Those little image stabilizing Zulus are incredible for that. Just picking up details through cover.
And then you probably don't have to have a lot of movement too when you're in tight and close. It's like, okay, I need to rest it on a cam. You don't have to rest your binos on the cam to get stable. You can literally just slight movement from the harness, turning them on, glassing a little bit, putting them back in the harness. You don't have to move your bow hand around. To be pretty effective on a stock.
I was thinking about as I was driving down a lot of the deer that I've hunted over the years. A lot of the deer I've hunted, I'm finding on southeast facing slopes. So that would be a tip for me that I would offer you. You
had to go and just blow it up right away.
I would check your southeast facing slopes.
I will say the same thing. It's the same. I love east facing slopes.
Yeah.
Just they don't get burnt like the west facing slope does, because that's going to be the hottest part of the day when the sun's beating on it. So all that browse and grass and whatever else is just burnt and hot.
Yep.
And then in the evening, the sun's setting obviously on the west side, so that's usually getting the first shade. So a lot of times those bucks will start slipping out a little bit earlier than one on the west facing slope. Not to say any other slope can't be good. They all can be good, but conducively it seems like, east, southeast facing.
Yeah, and that's primarily in the morning, right? So morning time, southeast facing slopes have been the jam. And it's as I was driving down, I was thinking about all the different bucks that I've hunted over the years. And I was just thinking about the orientation where I was finding them. I was like, oh yeah, that is definitely that's southeast facing, southeast facing, southeast facing.
Could we throw on top of it though? It might be skewed a little bit because you always kind of want to glass east in the morning. You're glassing in east facing, so you're basically glassing west because you don't want to be glassing into the rising sun too.
So you have the sun coming up at your back, ideally. Yeah, for sure. Which is nice because those deer pop out. A lot of time they'll just
pop in the shine.
Kind of follow the shade line. All right. You like going high? Any pros and cons? What do you think about going high or going low for mule deer for archery? Some of it depends on what you want out of a hunt.
Depends on the adventure you're really looking for. Like you can find deer everywhere. Mm-hmm. I mean, you really can. You just talked about you're on your run with your dog this morning.
Yep,
and
out in the flats.
They're egg bucks. Mm-hmm. You know, where sometimes egg bucks don't bed on, egg all the time. They go off into some, BLM land and ruin the sage stuff. So like you can find them low. You can find them high. You can find them near roads. You can find them way away from roads. But it's like I just like chasing the adventure of going high. And like I feel like I'd rather, in a sense, start high, figure out what elevation the bucks are at, figure out the elevation band they're kind of hanging out, what terrain they're kind of hanging out in, and then just modifying my plan from there. Mm-hmm. Where, and usually if I'm up high, there's usually a decent chance there's probably some ridge lines I can go to get some other little finger ridges to glass those a little bit from the area I'm at, and just having a lot of backup plans. But it's just kind of what I like to chase. I mean, it's not a end all be all. Like you have to go to 10,000 plus feet. You don't have to. Mm-hmm. There's definitely a lot of deer in those lower elevations too. I feel like a lot of times though, if I do see deer at mid to low elevations, it's usually a nursery of does and fawns. So I'm usually like, okay, glass a little bit higher, probably gonna find some bucks, and usually that is the case in some of the areas I am chasing. Yeah, but it's not a rule by any means.
I think hunting deer low can be really hard. Like if it's pinyon juniper country.
Oh yeah.
They get into the juniper. It's just a jungle in a lot of cases. It's so thick in there that you can't keep track of them and put them to bed actually. So a lot of times it feels like you're hunting an ambush style, trying to beat them to their bed or coming out of their bed. I like low country because you do have less pressure. Like I remember I hunted a buck a number of years ago in southern Utah, and it was a group of bucks. One of them was a really nice buck I wanted to kill, and I remember kind of setting up on this little knoll, glass, and it's like big rolling sagebrushy basins with pinyon and juniper pockets and stuff. And I remember sitting there, and it's hot down there, right? Mm-hmm. Even early, it's like hot, but I was sitting out there waiting for it to get light so I could start glassing. And I just remember like watching the sea of like vehicles going up the mountain, just like headlight. And I had the whole place to myself. And I get it, everybody wants to go up on top of the mountain. They want to hunt the aspen and the pine and, like those big alpine pockets and stuff. But for me, like if you can find a big buck down low, in a lot of cases, you'll have it to yourself on the bow hunt.
Even a lot of those like sagebrush rollers, like places, central, eastern, Wyoming, Montana, you got the Dakotas, all that like breaky type terrain, like that. It's not high country by any means. I mean, it can be steep and deep a lot of times, but like those are great places to bow hunt deer too. It's like just kind of what adventure you're chasing. Do you want that aspect of it, or do you want, high country aspect? You're going to find deer in both places.
I think a little more pressure generally up high. I like a deer low if I can find it. That's my favorite kind of deer, to be honest.
Like I said, you could have it to yourself. Like everyone nowadays, like has the best gear, and they know more about backpacking stuff, and that's the adventure they're chasing. So everyone goes up. But it's like, okay, do the opposite.
Different style of hunting. Yeah, I would say your tactics switch pretty widely. You're basically ambushing. You're trying to find out where I can be.
Where they coming off of something and ambush them that way.
Yeah, because actually getting a chance to put them to bed, it's a whole hell of a lot harder than it is in the alpine stuff, where I feel like that's your more classic spot. Watch them bed, and then plan your route, kind of come in and above. I've hunted a lot of deer down low that were big deer, where it was just like, okay, I'm going to pick this little route right here and hope that he walks by in the morning, or I'm going to watch him feed into a big giant pinyon juniper jungle, and I'm going to hope that he walks out down this line in the evening.
If you were going to have a hunt and you only had 6 days to hunt, you think you need more time hunting high country or more time hunting low country for that style of hunt?
I think you need way more time low.
Yeah, I was going to agree with that.
Is what I think. I think if the terrain, more open terrain, if you will, I think it's a lot more conducive, obviously, to spot and stalk. But yeah, and that goes into it too, right? So if you only have a weekend, you've got 3 days, it's probably a little bit better to hit the high country and find some big open country that you can glass and pick apart and actually put a buck in a spot where you could stalk him versus just hoping he walks by. Okay. I wanted to ask you about like timing. So August opener versus September, like if you had the choice to go one or the other, let's say you had a hunt that opened like it does in Utah, August 16th, would you go then, or would you wait until like the latter half of that hunt? Cause it runs all the way into September. Which one would you choose and why? And then maybe along with that, What do you think about, are mule deer patternable?
No.
Not at all.
Predictable.
Yeah.
They're predictable. I don't think they're exactly patternable.
Mm-hmm. I
don't think they do the same thing every day. They do similar things every day, but don't be like, okay, they're going to go up this exact rock outcropping every single day and bed below that exact rock cropping.
Mm-hmm.
They might be, within a quarter mile, make up our own yards, but it's not like an exact thing. Like, oh, in the morning, he bedded right there. I'm going to go sit above that rock and wait for him to come in. He's going to bed in that same bed.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that ain't going to happen a lot of times. It could.
Yeah.
But it's not the same bed every single day.
Hasn't happened to me.
Yeah. They're predictable, but they're not patternable.
I think they're predictable in that they're generally in the same area, right? And I think we've talked about it. I think the bigger the buck, the older the buck, I think the tighter his home range is.
Yep.
Because I think it just opens themselves up to predation if they move around a lot.
Yep.
So I think the area that they're generally in is predictable, but as far as pattern, like I have definitely not found mule deer to be patternable.
Mm-hmm.
You neither?
Nope.
Okay. And then do you hunt August?
I would love the earlier the better. But I throw that out there on a side note too. Like they're way more apt to be walking around in the open a little bit earlier in the year. Obviously they haven't seen pressure yet, but also that's probably gonna have your highest hunting pressure too. Like I've literally had spots where I've gone up for opener in, middle of August. And I've gone up like that first week of September in the same state. And there's no one up there. And the bucks have kind of been like spooked around, blah, blah, blah. But then they kind of like go back to their normal patterns again. And they hadn't like stripped yet. Like I don't want them to strip a little bit. But they're just like, seems like everyone just either burns out their time or burns out themselves and is not hunting as hard. And it seems like the bucks go back to like doing some normal stuff. So if you have an ability maybe, and the season is long enough, I don't know if you have to hunt right away unless you're targeting like a big deer or there's a lot of deer in the area. So like both options can be good, but I would rather have an earlier season than like a September season.
Yeah.
Cause like even right now when I'm thinking about it, so like, I've hunted muzzleloader quite a bit.
Yep.
And like scout a lot of giant deer. Like I'm like, gosh, I wish I had an archery tag. Mm-hmm. I know exactly where they're going to be. And by the time, that middle of September rolls around, like sure, the archery hunt's still going on, muzzleloader hunt's on top of it.
Yep.
The bucks are in a totally different spot now in the muzzleloader hunt than they were earlier in August. And I'm finding them in the timber. Now they're not out in the open high country basins anymore. And it's harder to hunt.
Yeah. I think it depends on the area too that you find them. But, so they'll typically strip, I would say by about the 10th of September, most of your bucks are starting to strip. Mm-hmm. This is like one that I wrestle with quite a bit because I talk to a lot of people and I think a lot of people hold the idea, and I don't doubt that they're telling the truth, but it seems like, people have this generalization that when deer strip their velvet, that they are a different deer, that they like act differently. They're gone. I would say, I think I heard somebody say that they think that they may drop in elevation as much as like 1,000 feet, right? Mm-hmm. Kind of change. I've had really good luck killing deer with a muzzleloader. Like the last week of September that I hunted on that dedicated hunter tag in August and early September with my bow, like same area.
Yep. Seen it.
So, but as I think about it, it's, those deer are, they've been in that environment there the whole summer, right? Mm-hmm. So they've been in cedar and sagebrush, or they've been down already into the pine, into that aspen region. So it's like maybe a product more of where they live anyway. Yep. So I would say maybe those alpine deer, maybe when they do strip their velvet, they dive down into the timber. That's kind of what you're saying.
Yeah, they maybe not dive down in the timber. Sometimes they still could be up in these high country places, but they're going to go into the timber, I think, a little bit more. Mm-hmm. Like they don't have to be careful of the velvet anymore per se. I mean, that's not the only reason, but I feel like they just they do kind of change. Yeah. And they can venture into more places and they're like, okay, it's, seasons are kind of changing.
And maybe a little bit of pressure.
A little pressure could be doing it too, pushing them into some thicker spots, and they don't like coming out in the open. We're more of that, like, okay, really honing in some edge habitat, like glassing into the timber, and they're not going to come out in the full open anymore, but they're still probably there. But it's just going to take a little bit, maybe different glassing techniques, or actually getting over there, maybe some ambush type stuff, or getting closer before, not glassing 2 miles away anymore. Maybe you're glassing a little bit tighter. But yeah, I just feel like if you're hunting them earlier, it just seems like you're seeing them more.
So you
it's
see
a funner hunt.
So kind of a trade-off. You see them more, probably a better opportunity. They haven't had the pressure all summer long, but probably more pressure in the field.
More pressure in the field.
Yeah, more people are going to hit the opener, right?
But if you have your little pocket to yourself, yeah, definitely early. They haven't been hunted yet. And then you do the same thing multiple days, hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah, I would generally say go early. If it opens in August, I'd go in August, but plan on probably dealing with some people. I don't know. The biggest buck I ever shot was September 6th. So I don't know. And I've thought about that because I hunted early, right? So when that hunt opened, I was out hunting and couldn't find that buck. So I'm wondering, did I find that buck only because he was like starting to move a little bit, maybe transition? I don't know. But yeah, interesting. Okay. I wanted to ask you, this is a question, super common question. When to make a stock, when not to stock? Do you got any info on any like indication of like, yeah, I should stock that deer, or no, I should not stock that deer?
I like to wait till I know a buck is in a good, solid bed.
Okay.
I don't like to make a stock when a buck's moving, personally. And I don't like to make a stock if he's made his first little bed in the morning. Sometimes they bed early just for whatever reason. They get up, they rebed, and might walk around for a little bit more and feed and then rebed again. And I like to wait till the thermals are actually really consistent, going uphill, hot air rises. And I like them in their bed, like fully in their bed.
Is there any, do you, I mean, I assume you're probably addressing, you're looking at the topography. You're thinking about the wind.
Thinking about the wind.
You already mentioned that.
Yep. I've already been, like we said earlier, taking time with the optics, glassing it, marking it, doing all that stuff. I like to analyze where all the other bucks are too.
Okay.
So I don't want to just glass a big buck and only focus on him. Let's say he has like 3 other buddies with him. I want to know where those 3 buddies are bedded.
Yeah.
Like that's very, very important. Or if there's somehow a doe with him. Like a lot of times those little bucks are bedding in shitty spots because it totally wrecks the stock on a big buck. Like you have to know where those little guys are, because you make a stock. I did it on like a big giant, like high 80s buck back in the day where all I saw was him. And like, I got super excited. Like, dude, I'm going to go kill this deer. This deer is bedding in the perfect spot. Did it. I hiked all the way over there. I started making this stock, and all of a sudden I bumped up, probably was a fork and horn, a 3-point or something like that. And of course he runs right by that big buck, kicks that big buck up. I never knew that little buck was there. I didn't do my due diligence to look around for a smaller buck, and just went in and made my stock and then blew it out. Never saw that deer again.
Yeah.
Like that hurt.
Yeah.
Like should have, like, maybe I would have never seen that buck too, the little buck, but maybe I shouldn't have just ran in there, you know, maybe I could have moved down a little bit, got a better angle. Like it's hot out. He ain't going to move. This again wasn't in a giant high country spot, but it wasn't a low country spot. He was like that middle ground. And I didn't have all the eyes covered.
Do you have to see the buck to make a stock?
I like to. I do, but if I know it's like a tight little area, like maybe, but I don't want him to go on some timber and all of a sudden maybe work up or work down, and then I don't know, and I come on that high elevation spot and, you know, eye level with him and then kick him out. So ideally, I think I would like to actually see him, because I want to know, okay, you're by that rock, you're by that tree. What is it? Where do I need to potentially get to? You know, I'm probably going to do a lot of like the rangefinder tool, dropping the exact spot he is, ranging it, going on the maps, and, you know, marking the exact spot. And then I'm probably going to switch over to like topo on GOHUNT maps and do some measurement stuff. Like, okay, if I get to that spot right there, then open it up on a satellite. And if it's open enough, like, could I probably shoot from right there? Where do I potentially need to get to ahead of time to see if it's conducive for a stock? Because if it's early enough, I like to kind of be patient, but I also want to push the envelope too if I feel like I need to. So it's like, hey, if it's not ideal and I see him bed, should I wait it out? Is it possible to go in there right now? Are the other bucks in a good spot? So there's a lot of stuff just like playing around, gut decision, game time.
Yeah.
What I'm going to do on a stock.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you said. So knowing where any other deer is for sure. I've definitely passed up stocks because of other deer where they were located in and around the buck that I wanted to try to shoot, because it was just like, I don't think in the way they were bedded, right? It seems like those things always bed different directions. So it's like a little spy group, you know, they're covering all their bases and corners.
Do you think a big buck tells those little bucks, hey, look out for me?
I don't know, man. It's funny too how many times you'll watch deer feed, and I've seen it both ways, actually. Sometimes it feels like the biggest buck's the most alert, and he's like looking around. And then there's a lot of bucks, I would say probably more so this way, in my opinion. Feels like those bigger bucks are just feeding and they're going to town on the chow, and every other buck in that group is just completely switched on.
Yeah.
Like they were just looking everywhere. And, you know, the big buck only kind of picks his head up and checks things out when those little bucks are like on alert, right? So it does feel like there's some sort of hierarchy there to me. But, yeah, the other thing I was thinking about, when to stalk, not to stalk. So I've gotten to the point now where I probably won't try a stalk in the morning until like I want that buck bedded till like 11 o'clock. You know what I mean?
I've literally, like the last buck I hunted, the one I hit and lost and like basically destroyed my whole archery career. He was up on his feet till 11. Like he made some smaller beds out in the open. And you're like, okay, let's go in. But the little bucks are still kind of moving around. Some are doing something. He got up, moved around. Like he was literally feeding all morning. You're like looking at it like he should be in his bed. It's a big old deer. Like why is he out in the sun still? But he was just being a deer for whatever reason, being unpredictable.
Yeah.
So like if I would have stalked him earlier, I would have never known his last bed location. I would have gotten in there and be like, oh, he should be here. And he wasn't even close to where he was earlier 2 hours ago.
As I was thinking about it today, as I was driving down, I would say in most cases, it's like kind of a rarity where a buck will bed, and maybe it's like 8:30, 9 in the morning, right? When the sun's kind of popped up and wherever he's at is mostly sunny. He's finding a little bit of shade. But it's a rare thing where he has remained bedded. So like if he's bedded early, that he's remained in that same bed. Like I can't think of hardly any, to be honest. It feels like they'll always bed. And then maybe 45 minutes, an hour later, they'll get up, feed for another 30 minutes or something, and then they'll find a different bed, either close to it or they'll just move, you know, maybe around the tree to get the shade, and they'll rebed. And then once, to me at least, like the most likely outcome for a buck to stay bedded is probably like that 11 o'clock to like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock time frame, right?
Yep.
And they may get up a little bit, but it feels like the consistency of the sun and the shade that they've got during those time frames is the most consistent. Yeah. So they're going to have shade for the most part when in that bed that they end up in. So to me, that feels like the best window. So it's really hard. I've had to be patient, you know, to just sit there and watch a deer all morning long thinking like, okay, you know, I got to wait you out, because there's nothing worse than putting a deer to bed, taking off, getting in there, popping up over the hill. You think he's supposed to be there and he's gone.
And that's where too, you have to be focused. Like if he is bedding, you know, 8:39, you got to sit there and watch him the whole time. You can't be like, okay, I know where that buck's at. I'm going to go glass around, find some other bucks. But that's a buck you're okay to go stalk. You have to do, like you're saying, like put your binos on him, put your spotting scope on him, and you're going to watch him the whole entire time until he moves again. You want to know when he's getting up. You don't want to look around like, oh my gosh, he's gone.
Yeah.
And then frantically like, shoot, where'd he go? Did he go right? Did he go left? Like you need to watch him.
You have to have your eye in the scope. Like you've got to have that buck in view, because man, I've seen deer just flat disappear in a matter of seconds.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And you're like, man, well, there went my whole morning because I have no clue where he went. Yeah, I've done that too. The other thing I was thinking of when I asked you the question, but do you ever stalk a deer if you don't know where he's bedded? I have done that, and I've had it, you know, with some decent success, but you have to almost approach it differently, right? Like at that point, it's get close to where you approximately think he is, and then it's a waiting game.
Then are you just like picking up binos and like kind of scanning around? Maybe your gut feelings move a little closer, scan around again.
I would say in those situations, I don't like to push the envelope in those. Like, so I don't want to like go stalking in there in hopes that I pick him up before he picks me up, because the reality is 99 out of 100, they're going to pick you off first.
No.
Like they're so switched on, you know, they're going to hear you or see you or something. So I don't like that. To me, in those cases, a lot of times it turns into a long game. Basically, I'm going to sit back a distance to where I think I'm close, but I don't know exactly. And I'm going to like let time pass, and I'm going to let them try to make a mistake and hopefully, you know, get up and move into my window versus me trying to move in on them and, you know, get a glimpse before they see me. So I think you have to approach it differently.
It's a good tip.
Yeah. I have in my notes here, predicting the sunshade and the thermals. I was thinking about this. So as you watch a deer bed, right? And maybe he hits the first bed. You have a window. Maybe you are close enough to actually get within range prior to him getting up and rebedding. I think it's really important to think about and make notes day to day as the sun moves across the hillside, where the shade is and when, right?
Yep. It's very important. Like, hey, I got this amount of time before it's going to potentially get to the spot where he likes to bed and gets on him and he might get up and move.
Because the reason I was thinking about it is it's not like deer aren't completely random. Sometimes it feels like they are, but they're not completely random. They're going to move with the shade. So as the sun comes up, starts to, brighten up the hillside, in most cases, they're going to move with the shade. And that's predictable. Like if you pay attention throughout the day, like you'd have an understanding, a really good understanding of when they do get up, which direction are they going to generally move, right? Mm-hmm. Same with the thermals. You got to pay attention. If you have a buck and he's in an area and maybe he's not in a spot, maybe he beds for 2 or 3 days in a spot that's just not conducive to a stalk, you can't get in on it. Like those 2 or 3 days, you can be building an inventory of ideas.
Yep.
Like when does this area shade out? What time of day? What are the thermals doing at what time of day? Mm-hmm. Because they're pretty consistent in most cases of both of those, both shade, obviously shade. But
let's dive into figuring out thermals at a distance. Do you always take face value of what the thermals are doing where you're at? Be like, okay, now it kind of feels like it's starting to come uphill because I'm glassing on this hillside. Or are you kind of glassing across using the combination of stuff and like looking at some vegetation, looking at some trees, kind of telling maybe it's going up, maybe it's not going up there yet because it is more shaded in your areas in the sun right now. Like how you kind of judging that one?
Yeah, I mean, generally speaking, like you said, as the sun warms the slope up, your thermals are going to rise uphill. So I'm looking at the hillside. How sunny is it? Like how warm do I think it is? Do I think it's late enough in the day that those are consistent? Your thermals are rising. I'm thinking about like your prevailing wind, right? There's some days where your wind just blows out of a certain direction, sometimes harder than others. And you can often see that just by putting some glass up and like looking at the grass, which way is it blowing? A lot of times you can watch the grass on a hillside and see if it's whipping, right? If it's moving up and down and all over the place, you can see that wind's kind of swirling, right?
Yep. It's
probably not a great option for a stalk with a prevailing wind that's kind of whipping around, right? Cloud cover, definitely. Yep. I think a ton about cloud cover. A bright sunny day is great because it's usually consistent thermals, consistent winds. If you got some cloud cover, every time those clouds come over and shade the sun out, you're going to get some thermal dynamics switching.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's because I'm switched over to rifle hunter, but I definitely notice thermals a lot more now. Like looking through a scope, like a rifle scope, you can see thermals, with high powered magnification. So you can see thermals in a spotting scope. You actually can see it. All the haze and stuff kind of moving as you're glassing through some optics. You can kind of see what your thermals are doing that way a little bit too, even a pair of binos.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, generally you just got to keep in the back of your mind to think like, okay, sun warms at the hillside up, your thermals are going to rise as it shades out. They're going to come downhill. Think about prevailing wind, think about cloud cover. And then you can try to project a little bit based on where you're at to where you're going and help you out. And then, I mean, we'll get to it at the bottom of the podcast, but I have, like gear items, but one of them that I think is just paramount is just wind indicator. Yeah. You got to have it and you got to use it constantly.
Yeah. It's one thing to have it, but you have to use it.
Yeah. Don't force it either because you're not going to get away with it.
No.
In your opinion, that's actually probably a good point to ask, but in your opinion, mule deer, like, the mule, the species, you love the species. In terms of senses, the likelihood of you getting busted on a stalk, rank these. Is it scent? Is it sound? Is it sight?
Scent first.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say sound.
They have big ears for a reason. But I feel like in nature you can get away slightly with some sound. Slightly, and I say that very loosely. Like if you break a stick, they're going to alert and look at you. But I still feel like though that nose is everything.
Do you think elk or deer have a better nose? I think elk have a better nose than mule deer.
Yeah,
I do. I think as far as I'll let you finish.
I'm going to go eyesight last, hearing second.
Okay.
And so I feel like you can get in there, but if you have some scent swirling around and another buck smells you or that buck does, like usually it's game over no matter what. Mm-hmm. Or if I sneak in there, and I've had staring contests with deer before.
Yep.
They usually do win, but there's times you can beat them by just not moving and you're
being completely still.
So you might have slightly caught a movement of you, but they're not going to bust right at you. But they smell you, they're gone.
That's true.
Hearing definitely, like I said, you can't be dropping rocks, you can't be doing that. But like I feel like you can, like I said, just slightly get away with some sort of natural sounding stuff as you're moving through.
I'd probably agree with you. Yeah,
but like they're very close though. Like they have big ears.
Yeah,
like they can hear a lot,
so
and they're constantly twitching them around. Like you can watch a buck bedded
on with sound.
Yeah,
more than most animals, I would say.
Especially like I said, if it's not natural. Like if you clink your arrow against the side of your bow.
Yeah, rocks rolling.
Like anything that's like unnatural to them.
Sagebrush against your pant leg.
Yeah.
It feels like they pick up sound like no other animal. Mm-hmm. Like elk, I don't worry a ton about it. Obviously, you have to be quiet. Same with antelope. I feel like
because they're a herd animal and they know sounds all the time are loud.
Man, I feel like a mule deer buck is so hard with sound. Yep. Maybe it's not that it's more than smell. Maybe it's just because it's so unique to that animal. I feel like, man, they are really, really sensitive to sound.
Mm-hmm. But I think those two are tied really tight. It's hard to say one versus two. You just gotta do it all with them because they're switched on.
But you definitely have to use your wind checker.
Yeah,
and don't force it. I wanted to ask you, what do you think? What does a high percentage stalk look like? Like you're going to stalk a mule deer buck. What does that look like for you ideally? Like what are you looking for?
Ideally,
yeah. Like man, this is a stalk I want to make. I'm going to make this stalk.
If he's bedded below some cliffs, and I know the topography is allowing me to get to a cliff edge.
Okay.
And I can get there, I can have enough footing or whatever to like calm myself down, sit there for a little bit, watch him looking away, see his antler tips. I can see his antler tips when I'm up above, like, yeah.
Yeah, they almost always, it's not impossible that I've seen bucks actually bed uphill, like looking uphill, but it's usually when they're in a group of bucks and they've got all their bases covered. I mean, for the most part, I would say they're going to bed with their back into the hillside and they're going to be looking down the hill.
If I can find a spot where I can get above them and get within, 45 yards, and I already have taken my boots off at like probably that 100-yard mark and some sort of stocking type shoes or wool socks or whatever it may be on that hunt, and then creep over there and sit there and have the wind perfectly and be able to just calm everything down. Cause I'm usually jacked up when I'm making a stalk. And like once you get there, like just heart, just like beating out of control.
Yeah.
But if I can get there for a little bit and be calm and sit above a cliff and he's down below me where I have some sort of topography away from him, like that's picture perfect for me.
Yeah.
And I don't have any other bucks by, and I know if he can go left, I can take a shot. If he gets up, if he gets right, if he just instantly takes up, I can still get a shot. Like all those things would be perfect. Obviously, it's never really perfect. And you always say, oh, he has to go right. If he gets up out of his bed and goes left the way he's facing right now, I don't have a shot again. Yeah, you just got to kind of deal with it or maybe modify how you're working down on him. But I love a bunch of rocks or boulders or something. I can get kind of close to him and know where he's at and know when he stands. I want to be able to kind of see him.
Yeah, I like what I'm looking for is like not a lot of cover, just enough cover, kind of sparse across the hillside. Know exactly where he's at. Hopefully he's bedded up between two boulders or underneath a little bit of a ledge, and I've got a lone tree in line of sight with him that I can come above. I think that's like your perfect stalk. Above, slow, creeping. Not a lot of cover, just enough that you can hide behind it, kind of work down, or a little bit of topography that you can kind of work the angle. Maybe it's a little bit of a gully or a ditch bank, something like that you can kind of work your way down in and above. Midday, I would say.
Yep. And enough vegetation or rocks nearby where you could range something ahead of time and already have your sight dialed.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I want to have it dialed, have it locked in, arrow knocked, release sitting next to me, like...
I would say a little bit of a breeze, maybe a little prevailing wind.
Yep.
I don't want it just thermals rising because that can be really, really quiet. So just enough of a sound barrier with some prevailing wind to just help that break up a little bit. And then ideally, if it had rained the night before, that'd be really great just to make it nice and quiet. That'd be perfect.
So would you prefer going into an area and be able to stalk and be sitting on your knees waiting it out? Or are you going to be standing up for a long time.
Yeah, that's a good question. Standing's tough.
It is. It's exhausting.
I mean, you have the ability to probably be a better shot, make a better shot from a standing position, but I feel like either kind of sitting on your hip into the hillside, where I can get my bow out ahead of me and draw it and shoot from that hip, or even onto my knees. I would say most often like my hip. So I got kind of my leg weight over.
The hip's way more comfortable because if you're on your knees, sitting on your feet, on your heels, you get really uncomfortable. And then your foot's going to fall asleep and you're constantly making a lot of movement too. Like you kind of want to be leaning into a hill, but you also want to be able to like potentially draw your bow like that too and don't want to get pinned.
And then ideally some shade.
Yeah.
Man, I have sat out in the open sun for hours and hours and hours waiting for a buck to stand, to the point where, and this is probably a good time, but have you ever thrown a rock or made a noise to try to get a buck up? Because I've been there. I've been there to the point in the sun where I'm like, I don't know if I can do this much longer. Like I've been here for 3 hours. I'm ready to do something to get this buck out of the bed.
It's just scary to me to throw a rock.
I've never had it work.
No.
I've tried it. It's never worked.
And you get all the way in there and it's like, okay, do I throw a rock now or wait 15 minutes? That's what I always think. Like, is it going to be another 15 minutes? Because if it's 15 minutes, I can wait 15 minutes.
Sure. Yeah. At what point do you pull the trigger and throw something, right?
The only time maybe you might want to consider doing it, but again, he probably is not going to be in bed that long until the evening, until the thermal starts switching. Like if you know things are going to start switching or the wind's changing or all of a sudden now you have a big rainstorm coming in, it's going to change things. Then you might want to, make something happen quickly and like force the issue.
Cloud cover coming.
Yeah, because you're already there. You did all the work. You glassed him up. You put him to bed. You got over there. You're in position. Why rush it at that point? And you never know if that buck had been spooked by something the day before and is now turned on because a mountain lion stalked him. And he's like, oh my gosh, any sort of noise or movement, I'm going to bolt out of here. Or maybe he's comfortable with that because there's a lot of rocks falling all over the place. And like, he'd be like, I'm just going to stand up and see what that was. Yeah. Maybe that was my mountain goat buddy I've been hanging out with all summer. Like,
yeah, I think you make a good point thinking about what else is going on around. Because if you're in there and you've got some cloud cover come over, it looks like your wind's going to get swirly and switch. Maybe that's a time where you do take a chance and throw something, because if he smells you, he is gone for sure. He's going to blow out of his bed. You're not going to get any chance at all. It's just like, it's probably a good reminder just to think of like what is going on in and around you to help you make that decision.
So if you get all the way in there, okay, let's say you get to 40 yards. You can see that buck. You can see him bedded. You have enough body. Are you going to take a shot when he's bedded, or are you going to wait till he stands?
Ooh.
Everything is perfect right now.
I'm 40 yards.
40 yards.
And I've got vitals.
You've got vitals. You got obviously a little bit of that shoulder always right there. And his back's kind of twisted towards you, but there looks like there's enough vitals right there. But obviously that back is a little bit smaller than it would be if he was standing up full. Are you taking the shot?
I'd say yes at 40.
I have. And that's what I would say yes to.
I'm going to say yes, because once he stands up, I mean, it's a waiting game at that point, right? You're like hoping that he faces a direction that you can get your bow to full draw, or that you see him starting to move enough that you can get to full draw before he stands. But I've definitely had deer stand up and not gotten a shot. Do you know what I mean? So if I can see vitals and I'm in 40, I'm probably taking that shot, but it's specific to each situation, right? Yeah. I mean, ideally, that buck that I shot off the cliffs, he was bedded. So I leaned over the ledge, looked down. He's 39 yards. I range him. He's like 27 with the cut. I can see, probably 3 inches, I guess, of what I'd call vital, and his spine. And I'm thinking, should I just shoot him right there in his bed? And I just sat there and thought about it for a long time. And I thought, if he stands up, that little vital area is probably going to go to like 6 inches or 8 inches, because I've got more view of his side there as he stands up. So ultimately I decided to stand up, and I think it was the right decision. It's case by case specific.
Yeah, because you could think in your head, like, okay, if I can get this, like if I can see him like nodding off, like his antler's moving a little bit, always looking away. And if I can get to full draw comfortably, get settled in, it's a way more focused shot too, than having to, oh my gosh, he's standing up right now. He's looking at me. I can't do anything. Now he's turning away. Is he gonna take a couple steps and get out of there? Now you're drawing back quickly and trying to execute a shot.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about you, but my adrenaline goes through the roof as soon as an animal, if I'm in tight and it starts to stand up or move, and I'm like, oh, now is go time. Yeah. My adrenaline spikes through the roof. It's much easier to draw your bow and shoot when they're bedded.
Yeah.
That's a tough question, though. I had a guy ask me that this weekend. He's like, a lot of these targets we're shooting, there's like bedded deer, bedded whitetail or bedded mule deer. He's like, is that like a shot that you should take? And I'm like, it just kind of depends.
Depends. I also recall a time when I stalked in on a buck. I had a little buck kind of nearby, so I didn't know about a lot of movement. But you're saying like that window of the vitals can kind of be really thin.
Mm-hmm.
He was bedded right behind like a little boulder and had enough space. It was kind of like a perfect tack shot. How sometimes you have the log right there and you have to hug that thing if you're going to take the shot. So I was like, I didn't really fully feel comfortable because I thought it looked like a lot of spine. Had another buck over there. He kind of was getting up and moving around constantly and changing beds and looking around, rebedding. So I was like, this buck, when he stands, I'll kill him. I'm in tight, like 40, 45 yards, maybe it's a little bit less. And I kept waiting and waiting and waiting. And I was like, once he gets up though, if he gets up and tries to turn, he's facing left. He has to go left. That's my perfect shot. He got up, twisted around right away and took a step to the right and I couldn't kill him.
Yeah.
And then I tried to move a little bit because I needed to create something. Little buck to the left saw me. They both blew out. So like, should have I tried to do it? And it was a buck that had a little split main beam. Like it's a tiny little extra thing coming off. Like a sweet buck.
Yeah.
I could have probably shot him right there.
Yeah.
But I waited because I was like, he's going to get up and go to the left. Like that's the way he's facing. He's going to give me a big vital shot. And it never happened.
Yeah. I would
situation by situation.
Yeah, if you can do it, do it. If not, wait them out. I've never had the rock throwing trick work.
Yeah.
I've definitely had it not work a number of times.
Rifle hunting, I use a rock throwing thing all the time. I try to like kick him out of brush. I'm like, okay, I'm going to throw it down and he's going to run up the other side and I'm going to be able to shoot him. But
I've definitely not had it work. Never had it actually work. So it might be interesting if you've had that work. I'd love to know. It's just never worked for me. I have in my notes here, what's the right mix of being aggressive enough but being too timid? Because I think there was a long time for me. I mean, like a really long time, not even all that far ago, where I would fall in love with a buck and I would sit and watch him and I would try to put him in the perfect spot to get a perfect stalk. And I would just sit there and watch him day in, day out. And I'd be like, nope, not today. That's just not it. He's not where he needs to be. And I wouldn't get opportunities because I was too timid. Like I was scared to actually blow that deer out. I was more scared of blowing him out than, that I might kill him. Do you have any advice as to being aggressive, being timid?
I think you can be timid for a little bit. If you don't know the deer's patterns at all, be a little bit timid. Like, okay, maybe I won't push it today. Or if there's bucks in a weird spot, I'm not going to try to push the envelope.
Other people
are definitely going to be more aggressive. Like if I can tell there's other people in here glassing and I got a buck and I don't see anyone moving, I'm going to be aggressive.
Even if he's maybe not in the best spot.
Yeah, even if he's not in the best spot. Because I have gone aggressive on some deer and it's one of the last ones I killed with my bow. I was aggressive on him, snuck all the way in there, got pinned in a spot where it wasn't ideal. And I took a shot at him. Again, probably should have waited and maybe tried to get closer, but I was already there. Some bucks are alert. Missed the buck. And I was like, shoot, no, I just wrecked it. Why was I being so aggressive? I should have known I couldn't get close enough. I thought I could get close enough, but it ended up just the topography and everything. I couldn't get close. And then literally I was like, shoot, I wrecked my opportunity. He's going to blow out of the country. But this is where he's at. I've never not seen him in this spot all summer. I went up there like 4 or 5 times scouting this buck. And then literally 2 days later, he was in the exact same spot. And I was like, okay, now I'm way smarter about how to approach him and snuck down in there a little different way and I killed him. So like being aggressive in a sense, I was able to, thought I would be able to kill him and it would have been great because I pushed the envelope and tried it. And I was like, okay, now I readjusted everything and I'm not going to sit there because there was a lot of people hunting around there. So I think being aggressive and trying it, I wish I would have worked the first time, but killed him next time and didn't blow him out of the country.
Yeah.
And so like, I think you gotta, again, understand the situation, people, topography, what's around there. Is this your sole target buck?
Yeah, I think pressure has a lot to do with it. If you think you're going to, if you think there's other people in the area, it's probably time to push the envelope, right? And get it cracked before somebody else blows them out completely. The other thing in regards to this that I think of all the time is be aggressive when you have to be. So like make tracks when you have to and go real slow when you have to, if that makes sense. So if you watch it back, ideally, right? Buck, he gets up in the morning, you see him, you glass him up, he's feeding, he goes to bed, you watch him for another 30 minutes, he gets up, feeds for a little bit, goes in, second bed, bed's down. It's 11:30 in the morning. And I think, okay, I've got like a 3-hour window potentially before he gets back up again. Mm-hmm. Like I'm going to aggressively run at him. I'm going to close as much distance as I possibly can, as quickly as I can, out of sight. And then I'm going to get there. And when I get within that 150 yards, I'm going to turtle pace. Like I'm going to go so slow, right? Mm-hmm. So like that would be my advice as I was thinking about it, was like be aggressive when you have to and go real slow when it matters. Like
and then also even when you're trying to push the envelope and maybe rush in there a little bit when you should be patient, like finish the freaking stalk.
For sure. Yeah.
You get to some places sometimes you're like, he was supposed to be here, but he's not. Mm-hmm. And you're like, oh, well, I'm just going to, I'm glassing around, can't find him. You're like, I'm just going to walk over this rock.
I'm going to get loud.
You just walk 5 steps and like he was actually in the same spot, but you thought it looked differently. And then you blow him up.
Or he was 10 yards from it. I've done that before. You
just rebedded that little bit when you're going your turtle pace. Finish the stalk completely. Even if there's a little ledge and you're like, I need to peek over it, but I know he's not there. He never was below that. Finish it. Go further than you think to, but still do that as a snail's pace. Yeah. But fully finish the stalk.
Yeah, we had a buck in Nevada that year when I was with Luke, and I think I've told this story. Luke had it in his mind that he was in one little pocket. I had it in my mind he was in another little pocket, so we went real super slow, checked the first pocket, wasn't there. In the back of my mind, I'm like playing head games, like, yeah, that was the pocket, he was there, but I'm just going to go over here and check this one to make sure. And I treated that one like it was... not worth it. He's gone. Casually walked, wasn't quiet, didn't take my boots off. Get over in there, kind of creeping along, like, oh, I just want to confirm. And, he stands up at 80 yards and looking at me and gone, right? Like that buck was there the entire time where I thought he would have
been like, all right, I'm going to do it normally. I'm going to take my boots off. We're going to creep back out there. You could have potentially seen him, got a little closer and got a shot.
I could have killed that buck 100%. If I'd have known... If I'd have gone with my gut, right? Mm-hmm. If I'd have gone with my intuition, and I would have treated that stalk with the respect that it deserved, I would have killed that buck unequivocally.
And the thing too, you always got to remember, like in terms of like going or waiting, like you're also there to kill. Mm-hmm. Make sure it's gorgeous, sitting up, waking up in the morning and glassing a buck every single day and waiting for the perfect situation. But like you are there to kill too. So like might as well make some stalks.
Yeah, you got to make some stalks. You have to. Otherwise, you're not going to kill the animal. You just sit there and look at him every day. You can't be more afraid of blowing him out. Yeah. Yeah, you've got to. I would say I've been more successful with a little bit more aggression.
So speaking of my last situation where I mentioned I missed the buck, blew them all out. There was, I think, 7 bucks in that spot. I was only targeting 1. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like they're blown out of the country? Or... Again, situationally, but do you think you could find them in the same sort of general area again? Maybe not the next day, but are you worried about blowing them out completely to the point where you can't kill them? And that's why maybe you would be timid.
I'm not. I think you may not find them the next day or the day after, but it feels like they will return.
Because that's their home?
Yeah, kind of their home. I think it's good if you do blow a buck out. I think it's good to look at the topography and maybe potentially hit a different glassing point to look at the country differently. Because I've had deer, I'm thinking of a spot right now where I was hunting them on one side of this little drainage. There's a bit of a saddle, ended up, bumping some bucks. They went up and over through the saddle. I let him go. And I had a glassing knob where I'd been watching him and I just popped across the valley and hit the other side and I was able to pick him up the next morning. Well, he'd just gone over into the next drainage and disappeared, but he popped back up. He's just, he's in the same area. He's probably within a half a mile of that area. He's just using the topography differently. Yep. Eventually he did end up like back where I was originally watching him, so I think they will use the area like adjacent drainages, little folds and pockets. I think they'll use it differently, but I think they often return. Mm-hmm. That's what I think anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if I've ever had one that just, I have a buck that just, I only ever saw like 2 times ever, and I have no clue where that deer ever was. I talked to some guys that had seen it the one morning, and they're like, oh, we saw an absolute giant. And I'm like, well, I've been looking for this deer for 3 years. You know what I mean? So, but even still, he was in the same area. He just wasn't from an overlook that I could see. So I guess sometimes you got to be a little bit more adaptable, kind of move around.
Okay. Speaking of being aggressive, would you stalk a buck in the evening?
Thermals
are obviously going to be switching. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say it just depends, like how far he is away, right?
And you think you can get there in time?
If I thought I could get there in time and I thought I could keep the wind in my favor, and I'm not, at that point, you're probably not stalking a buck that's, bedded. You're obviously hoping that he feeds to you.
It's kind of switching to like a spot stalk ambush.
Yeah, ambush style. And I would say in a lot of cases, that's like the stock that I get. You know what I mean? There's a lot of cases where I don't actually get to put an animal to bed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking of a deer that I hunted. He was up in the morning. I watched him. He bedded. I didn't know where he was bedded, but I knew he was bedded in this big patch of oak, right?
Yep.
So mid-afternoon, I made my way close to where I thought he was going to feed out. And lo and behold, he comes feeding out about 4:35 in the afternoon. He ends up facing dead away from me, feeding in this oak bush at 15 yards. And there's a bush between he and I, and the wind ended up swirling and like he, bombed out of there. But I think in those cases, a lot of the time you're playing long game, right? And I don't think that's uncommon. It's just trying to predict where they're going to be and when, and setting up ambush.
Yeah, because your stalk could turn into just an ambush situation where I don't really know where he's at. I'm going to set over here because that's where he kind of comes out and feeds, and just hang tight.
And you're still stalking. You may just be. To me, I want to cut the distance to the point of where when they do come out, I can then stalk. I think stalking deer that are feeding is great because they're a whole lot less aware, right? So a deer that's bedded is completely switched on. Yeah. Like every sense he's got is firing. It's like you said, he's moving his ears like telescopes. He's listening for everything. He's got the wind. He's smelling. I think a deer that's up and feeding, he's busy, right?
Like he's making some noise with his mouth.
Making a noise with his mouth. He's moving his head. He's moving back and forth. I feel like that deer's not nearly as switched on as one that's bedded. So I think it's a great stalk if you're close enough proximity to make it. And then, I say this ad nauseum, but you have to be able to predict where an animal is going to go and why.
Yep.
I think about a buck last year that Neville stalked, right? So I was watching this whole thing develop, and this buck is bedded underneath this ledge. He comes in from the top and he's coming down, and I can tell he's under 100 yards, and he's like creeping down on it. And he comes back around to the right. And the buck gets up and he's kind of feeding generally down that direction. And as I was thinking about it, that buck was always going to go upslope. It's where the shade was hitting. Do you know what I mean? And I think what he was thinking was I can get down there, get within range before this buck acted. We weren't communicating, right? I think he was still thinking the buck was bedded, and he's thinking like I can get in close proximity before that buck, gets up and really starts to feed, and like I can catch him coming, like standing up out of his bed. But reality, if I was there by myself, the better move for me in that situation is to actually get up and anticipate, he's going to feed back up into this canyon because that's where the shade is. You have to be mindful of that kind of stuff and be thinking and like be predictive of what an animal's going to do.
When we got some bucks in a basin, how close is too close to camp by them?
It's too close if you're making like camp noises that they can hear you, right? Like I like to put a drainage between me and them. Like
if we're on a ridge glassing that morning and they're across maybe 1,000 some yards away,
I want to go to the back side of it,
and drop down, find a little bench somewhere, but not right on top where those winds are going to go down in there.
Yeah, I want to keep my scent out of it. I want to keep my silhouette, obviously, like on a ridge line or skyline. I don't want that at all. And then I don't want any sounds that I'm making, like if I'm putting my pot and pan on my stove. I like to put like a ridge line or a basin between us. Yeah, kind of stay out of there. What do you think? Do deer have an Achilles heel, if you will? Is there any like weaknesses that you think? I was trying to think of that.
In the high country, that time of year, archery, I think it's just that they are a little bit more visible.
And they're a little more feed focused, right? Because they're trying to put on weight for the rut. So they're like in the best groceries.
Yep. So you find the groceries, you usually find the deer. And if you find some open pockets where they can move around and you usually can see the deer. Like October, later in the year, like later in September, like they could literally just be in a little spot all day and they don't really want to move around. Like I think movement in the early season is your Achilles heel on a mule deer.
Yeah, I agree.
They're going to be visible more.
Yeah, a little more open country, better feed, easier to see.
Even low country stuff, they're still moving around.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah, but as far as like actually getting in range, I don't know that there are any
there's no
shortcuts.
other thing like, oh yeah, they're thinking about this, so they're a little bit dumber right now.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any short courts. It's not like you can call one in.
No.
You know. Anyway, I just was curious.
With a magpie call or something, you just keep blowing it the whole time you're going in.
Yeah, hoot owl.
Yeah,
they come distressed fawn. Mm-hmm. They don't give two rips that time of year. They're like, whatever, I'm out.
Yeah.
Okay, before we wrap up, gear. Anything gear specific that you can think of that can really help an archery mule deer hunter, and maybe specifically think about things like staying quiet. Is there anything you can think of?
Definitely footwear. Changing out from your boots to some other sort of footwear thing, whether it's like, those little ancient moccasins that we sell at the Going Gear shop. There's a ton of other different options.
Rock stalkers, they carry those.
Yep,
those
something that you can swap into to get rid of your rubber-soled boot into something a little bit quieter. I mean, wool socks are great, but we all know that's kind of a pain to hike back up in. So it's nice having some other purpose-built bow hunting, stalking shoes, whatever it may be. I think that's key.
I like a stocking shoe. I will say I like a stocking shoe that is thin enough, like a wool sock, great, or like Rimrock. The foam in the bottom of those isn't real thick.
Yeah,
I actually like it thin enough that like if I step on a sharp rock, I feel it.
You feel it. Yeah, you want to be able to feel it and grip it. That way you can I can kind of grab it with my toe or my heel so it doesn't roll.
I need some dexterity. Yeah, but I also want it to be thin enough that when I step on something sharp, it hurts. Because that slows me way down. Like if I can't go fast because everything hurts, I'm going to go super slow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because by nature, I want to rush it. Right. So I have to, it's like a physical barrier. That's something that can like really slow me down. So I like that.
Yep. And
you tuck your pant legs in?
Tuck your pant legs in. Yep.
Take them off?
I haven't taken them off, but I could go full South Cock style.
You haven't done a pants off, dance off up there?
Pants off, dance up. Do you take the boxers off too?
No, straight naked. Maybe you go slow. If you were straight naked up there, you'd go real slow.
You would probably go real slow because you have to.
No thorns.
So that's probably the tactic.
That might be. Other than you would shine like a diamond on the hillside, right? You would be.
You're just assuming I don't tan like that all the time.
I'm assuming you have a sick farmer's tan.
Yeah, which I do.
Like me.
What about hydration?
Man, that's a good one. Yeah,
because like I was filming Jess's gear list the other day for archery deer hunt, and she brought up one of those hydration holders from Kafaru. Like, are you carrying anything like that?
Yeah, man, I think it's important. Like,
because you could be there for 4 hours, and it could be like you're saying, you want a shaded spot ideally, but you could be in the sun the whole time.
You could be in direct sunlight for sure.
And then you realize
some sort of means of hydration.
Because if you're not hydrated, you're going to get stiff, or you're not thinking clearly, or let's say the stalk goes bad and the buck busts out. Now you have a long hike back to wherever your pack is, and you've been dehydrated the whole time. That's a combination for not some smart situations.
A migraine.
Yeah, that could be happening. Migraine. Yeah.
Not that I know anything about that.
Yeah, altitude, all that, like staying hydrated. So, like, do you carry any sort of that, or do you just have like a water bottle in your pocket, but that's gonna be crinkly and like you have your Nalgene?
It's definitely Nalgene. I think it's great because it's a hard-sided Nalgene, right? Something that's quiet that you can get the lid off quick and get a drink. I think like a small stalker pack is a great idea, and maybe you ditch it and just take the water bottle or whatever it might be when you're really in tight. But yeah, hydration and the amount of noise it makes to actually use it and get a drink. Food, I want to probably eat before I go.
Eat before, yeah.
Before I close in, because I don't want to get up there and be starving, have my tummy grumbling, and
you don't want to be open.
Out.
You don't want to be open, no matter what kind of wrapper it is. Even if it's a Ziploc bag, that's crinkling it open.
Yeah,
you're crunching, you're making noise. It's adding smell.
Yeah, when I get within range, I don't want to be opening anything up if I can help it. So usually I'll eat before I go. Even if it's just like a protein bar or something like that. So I got something in my stomach, and then take water with you and have something that's really quiet to open up.
Are you painting up?
Oh man, I should probably, but I hate it.
I know it is the worst.
I hate
because then you get back at night and you get it all over your clothes and you're sleeping, all over your sleeping bag. People make fun of you on the internet.
I don't care about that.
You don't care about that. Good.
You mean
Good.
more so?
More so, yeah.
More so.
To get that glare off and anything.
Man, I should. You probably should, to be honest. I think it probably helps. I would almost guarantee you there's times when a deer might, not every time, but there might be a situation where that deer will give you like an extra second or 2 seconds where he's like, I can't quite figure out what that is.
Yeah, because I don't fully believe you need to have camo. on a spot and stalk archery mule deer hunt.
I don't think it hurts.
Don't think it hurts either. It definitely could add to something. But I do think if you think, you have all this camo on, whatever brand it might be, and then you have your bright face.
Yeah. Or like, your hands.
Or hands. I painted, all the way down my hands. Like I'm not trying to say like, I'm going to get detailed here and like make cool designs or do the stupid black thing underneath your eyes and that's all you do. Or the reverse antlers that some people do on their face.
The eye black.
The eye black, but they do like reverse, like they actually paint the antlers. Like don't do that. That's how you get made fun of. But just really just throw it on there to block your face a little bit.
Yeah, I think block some glare.
I think it's valuable a little bit blocking that glare.
I do think camo is also valuable. I mean, people can have the debate, and that's fine. Do whatever you like, but I think
it gives you a little edge,
a little bit of breakup.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it can be helpful. What do you think about a boonie hat?
Gosh, boonie hats are so great. Like that, the last time I went on, I had a boonie hat. I looked like a total dweeb. But who the F cares?
I wore one in Hawaii for a week straight. Yeah, they're really handy to keeping the sun off your neck, your ears. Like when you feel your neck just burning on an open hillside while you're waiting for a buck to stand up, you can talk yourself into all kinds of dumb decisions.
Yep. But if you have a boonie hat, you definitely want to make sure you can still draw your bow back with it. Like depending on what size the boonie is or what your draw length is, or if you're longbow recurve, make sure you can still shoot with it before you're like, I'm going to take a boonie hat and go up there and it impedes your shot.
Yeah, and you want to make sure that the little string that hangs down underneath your chin doesn't catch in your bowstring.
Yeah.
You definitely want to try that. Knee pads. Very handy.
We were looking at knee pads earlier today, the ones we have here, so I think they're great.
I got a new set right there.
Yeah.
I'm pretty stoked to try those things out. They feel good. So I had knee pads in my list. Wind checker I have on my list. Face covering, face paint. I talked about that. Here's one other little tip, and this will probably be my last one as far as in regards to your equipment.
Okay.
Your third axis on your bow sight.
Buddy. Yeah, you better be setting that up.
So your first, second, and third axis. Third axis is very important for mule deer hunting because almost every shot you will be taking will be downhill. Yep. So make sure that your third axis is dialed, and I would even say, I do the plumb bob trick, hang a line from a beam, draw your bow from your knees, aim up at it, line your pins up, check your bubble, make sure it's level. And then your third axis swing, you can think of it as swinging like a door hinge. Yep. So then, repeat the same thing, aiming downhill, line your pins up with the plumb bob, make sure it sits level. That's all well and good, I think, but I think nothing will give you more confidence than actually shooting in your third axis. So go out to the range, take your target, kick it down a hill, shoot some super steep angles, and just see what your impact point does left or right. And I don't think you have to go far. I mean, start at like 30 yards, move back as far as you're comfortable, but nothing will give you more confidence than actually shooting in your third axis.
That's a good tip. Actually shooting it in rather than just trusting it. And yeah, because everyone says like, oh, you have to do it at full draw. Some people say you don't, but you should. You do. And then, actually testing it and trusting it. And then you're getting good practice too.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think about it, the biggest buck of my life. 39 yards, 27 for the cut. Super steep. I don't even know what the angle actually was, right? Like I was literally standing on the cliff edge and like looking off at this big giant buck bedded underneath this tree and leaning over. And nowhere in my mind was I thinking about my third axis because I did it. Like I'd done it, right? Yep. But if I'd have got in that moment with the biggest buck of my life and I'd have thought, shit, I don't really know I don't know if I ever did that. That was probably an important step. I shouldn't have skipped, right? Like, so do it. It'll be a big difference for you. Yeah, it could be the difference of missing or not.
You along the same lines too, you mentioned angle cut. Like trusting your rangefinder, having a rangefinder that has
should shoot it in
to make sure you actually know.
Yeah, and a lot of these rangefinders anymore, whether you're talking the SIGs, right? They've got archery mode that has the algorithm. I don't, for lack of a better word, built into it. You can input your bow's speed into that, and it's going to give you a cut. Also, like if you spend some time with like precision cut archery and playing with it, that guy has all kinds of tools within that can help you understand the angle for your bow setup and what might happen. And I would say go out and proof it. Just go out and check it. Take a morning instead of shooting at your local range or in your backyard. Go out and just double check it and say, what does this look like if I'm shooting down a 35 or 45 degree slope at 50 yards? Does it match what I'm finding here on, the tapes? So yeah, because man, nothing's more heartbreaking. Honest to Pete, and I'll say this. There's very few things in life that are more heartbreaking than missing a big mule deer buck with your bow. Because I think they're one of the hardest animals to get within range.
Yeah.
And to miss that with a bow, because the chances of getting in range are so hard.
Yeah.
Missing it is shattering.
Because when you think about it, there's a lot of things that have to go perfectly right.
Everything.
Yeah. To get that close to a buck on edge with his buddies there in his home turf where he's been hanging out the whole entire year. Not only the energy getting up a mountain or whatever, getting in the stalk, sitting in the heat. Oof, yeah. Make sure your equipment's dialed.
That's a real stinger that will live with you. And I've got more of them than I can count. Mm-hmm. I can definitely tell you I've blown way more stalks than I've completed. And it sucks. So do due diligence. And good luck.
Good luck.
Have fun. I don't think mule deer hunting's that fun for all the reasons we talked about today.
I know we've had discussion there, but it's fun when it goes right.
When it goes right, it's the most satisfying feeling in the world.
Yeah, but in general, it's definitely a very, very hard thing to do, especially with the bow.
For sure, very hard, but super cool. I love this time of year too because people are getting ready, and then I love like when those hunts kick off. So August 10th, Nevada. Usually within that first 4 days of the opener, you start seeing these really nice bucks. You can start to see all the deer that are being killed, and it just really feels like it kicks off things. It's like, oh man, we're in it.
You're just waiting for the September so you can get a PSL at Starbucks because you're.
Yeah, that's it.
That's what you're waiting for.
I don't like pumpkin spice, so write that down. Don't ever buy me one.
Okay,
I like pumpkin pie, but not pumpkin spice lattes. Not my jam.
Nice. I don't like pumpkin spice lattes either. Just for the record.
Anything else? Are we good?
I think we're good. Velvet season's here. I'm excited.
Yep. Yeah, they're growing out, man.
They're growing out. Being up there at TAC was a blast. Shooting bows, hanging out with you, hanging out with the SIG, hanging out with Jess. Fun times. Gets me excited for this year and next year.
For sure. Well, good luck, folks.
Good luck. If you have pictures, send it to us. Love to see it.
Yeah, I'd love to see that too.
Yeah, I'd love to see it.
Yeah, we'll be back next week. We're going to have some guys. We're going to talk backpacks.
Backpacks. And as always, too, if you like the podcast, drop us a review.
Yeah, please leave us a review.
Whatever you want to say about us.
Yeah.
The trail is nice. Buzz cut, haircut.
You could say 5 stars. Trail's new buzz cut looks like shit. That'd be great. That'd be fine with me.
You can totally do that too, yeah. Whatever you got. Leave us a review wherever you listen to your podcast, and we'd appreciate it.
Yep. All right, we're out.